would like, if I may, to take you on a strange journey.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Real Estate Realities with the Rebel Broker. My name's Robert Whitelaw, and I am the Rebel Broker. Licensed real estate broker in the state of California. Member of the National Association of Realtors. But please, don't hold that against me. Welcome to Monday, everybody. We're at the very beginning of August. Well, not the very beginning. We're a weekend, but, first half of August. We're going to go ahead and do the drawing for the $50 Amazon gift card this Friday at 5 p.m. Pacific time. So head on over to the website, therebelbroker.com. At the tippy top of the page, there is a button that says take the survey to support the show. Yes, that's what it's for, to take the survey. But if you take the survey, that is how you get on the list for the $50 Amazon gift card. See how it works? You're doing me a huge favor, and I'm trying to repay you. So head on over, use the same email address both times you're asked when you click that button. The reason this is so important is because that's how you're going to win the $50 Amazon gift card. Once I've selected you, I'll email you, verify that there's a real person at the other end of that email address, and then once I make the verification, I send an Amazon gift card via that email right to you. So it's a great opportunity for you. Tons of other folks have already won. I think we've given out $550 so far. Congratulations to those folks who have won, and good luck to those of you who have yet to enter. All right, so today we have got what I think is a pretty interesting list. We're always looking for that edge, right? Whether you are someone who is a buy and hold person, or you're a flip style investor, maybe you exclusively invest in multifamily properties, maybe strictly single family residentials, maybe vacation properties are your thing. In all of those various arenas of investment, I try to give you the best information I possibly can, and we've covered all kinds of stuff, the best vacation locations to have a vacation rental property, or at least the ones that show the greatest return on investment, single family residential returns. I like to cover all those numbers for you, and I've come across a great set of data today from the folks at wallethub, and these are the best cities to flip a house. Now, of course, I'm a little bit anal retentive when it comes to surveys and research, because you may find that you don't agree with this list. You may say, I don't put as much weight on this thing that you folks are putting so much weight on. Well, the good news is this particular report is going to break it down into several different categories. So if you want to completely disregard one of their categories, you can poke around with the numbers and strictly focus on some other bit. Now, so in order to make this clear, I want to cover their methodology, or how they did the research, what they weighted. In order to, and this is directly from the report, in order to determine the best and worst cities to flip houses, wallethub's analysts compared the 150 most populated cities across three key dimensions. So this is what you're going to be interested in, right? And some of these you may weigh differently than they do. So keep that in mind. Number one, market potential. And we'll discuss what that equals. Number two, renovation and remodeling costs. And three, quality of life. All things that sound reasonable, right? Maybe not all of us 100% agree on those categories, but I think we can at least agree that to some point they're important, right? They evaluated the dimensions using 22 relevant metrics. For market potential, it had a total point score potentially of 35. And this is what they considered market potential elements, right? Average gross return on investment, or ROI. Triple weight, 8.75 points. And of course, that should be the number one thing. And it is. That's the number one element in market potential. So if you're somebody who's really not as interested in those other elements and you just want to focus on return on investment, you could take a look at this list and find the properties or find the areas that were number one in return on investment. Next is median purchase price, which got full weight of 2.92 points. Share of home flips, average days to flip, home turnover rate, 2015 versus 2014. Housing market health index, average ratio of sale price to list price, real estate agents per capita. I don't understand why that's important. Foreclosed homes per 10,000 homes, real estate tax rate. Next was renovation and remodeling costs, average kitchen remodeling costs, average bathroom, average full home, average construction worker salary. All those things were figured in for that one. And then quality of life. And this is one you need to decide if it should be given a great deal of importance. I think it is, because it gives you things that you can push about what makes that property desirable. And it also helps you understand what things in that community are draws to it. And we've always talked about how if you're going to buy an investment property, it's good to be mindful of who is your customer, who is the ideal person who's going to be willing to pay the absolute top dollar for your investment property, right? I go through this same process even with a rental, because you want to understand what are you within easy commute of. Your customer might be someone who works at one or two or three different companies, and you can kind of focus on those folks if that's what you find are the keys to your market. This is going to give you some information that I think is useful, not specific enough for my taste. Once you get into it, you'd want to get more details, like schools are an example. You'd want to go ahead and drill down and figure out which schools are the best schools within these cities, these metro areas. And if possible, don't at least pick a area with schools that are in the top 50% rather than the bottom 50%. So just things to think about. Crime rate, great schools, city score, share of population with walkable park access, family friendliness, annual job growth rate, unemployment rate, median salary, pace of economic growth. So those all sound like pretty good things, right, to measure your city by. So let's go ahead and take a look at these. We'll go ahead and cover the top 10, and then we'll go into the disappointing 10. But we'll also talk about the ones that just had the highest return on investment, because I think a lot of you are going to focus specifically on that. Because remember what we've talked about before. These aren't talking about neighborhoods. These are talking about giant metro areas. So my feeling is I'd prefer, and if this was me personally using this list, and I may end up using this list to help me guide my interests, I would go market potential as my number one interest, and then work back from there and see if I can find areas within that metro where you're beating the odds of the overall metro, right? So let's say you find one that's a market rating of number one. It's the best. It's the highest return on investment, all other wonderful stuff, but the costs are a little bit higher. Well, maybe you can find an area where those costs are a little bit lower, or maybe the quality of life ranking wasn't so good, but you can probably find areas within that metro area that do have that quality of life that you're looking for. So, keep your eyes on the money, I guess, maybe is one suggestion. But let's go ahead and run down the top 10. And I'm going to give you their market ranking because, frankly, just looking at this list, some of these are way out of whack for me in terms of why they're picking some of these as the top 10 overall. Perhaps, and it seems to me the one that tends to swing it are the renovation and remodeling costs. So if it's enough to offset the market potential, I suppose that works. Number 10 on the list is Springfield, Missouri. Now, it had a total score of 64.61, but its market potential was 115th. So, yeah, it was way down there. But its renovation and remodeling costs were particularly low at 5. And its quality of life rank was 100. So, I actually would, looking down at my list here of other areas that scored below Springfield, Missouri, I'd look at those first, just based on overall, they ranked higher. Like number 11, for instance, is Chandler, Arizona. Well, I'm familiar with Chandler, Arizona. That scored just a little bit below Springfield, Missouri, but at least it was 65th in market potential, 44th in renovation costs, excuse me, and number 5 in quality of life. So definitely, the reason why I'm going to so much trouble to point all this out is this is a list I would not simply take at face value with their overall ranking and run with it. So there you go. Number 9, Greensboro, North Carolina. Ranked 64.82, market potential of 48th. Renovation and remodeling costs was 11th, and quality of life rank was 49th. Number 8, Boise, Idaho, 64.97 was its overall score, 129th on market potential. Renovation and remodeling costs, 8th, so apparently very low cost for remodeling, and 13th on quality of life. Number 7, Grand Rapids, Michigan. We've talked about Grand Rapids before. There's actually a couple of cities that are on here that should sound familiar. Grand Rapids scored 65. They were 25th on the market potential listing, 29th on renovation and remodeling costs, and 38th in quality of life. I like the balance there. You know, I feel like that one is kind of good performer in all the areas, so maybe worth looking at. Number 6, Tampa, Florida. Tampa, Florida's been on a few of our lists. We just had an interview on Friday with a Tampa investor, so we got some great information there. That ranked number 8 in market potential, and judging by the chat we were having on Friday, that does tend to bear out the experience of the investors there. Renovation and remodeling costs are 19th, so that's still a very good performer, and it's 66th under quality of life. And I think Tampa, absolutely, the greater Tampa area, I think if you're shopping right, you can absolutely find a quality of life that would rank way higher than a lot of communities that probably rate higher overall than Tampa. Number 5, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, 66.56 is the total score, ranked 30th in market potential, 15th in renovation and remodeling costs, and 37th in quality of life ranking. Number 4, Peoria, Arizona. I'm not sure where Peoria is, but I'm willing to bet it's really close to Phoenix. Now, Peoria scored 97th in the market potential. And this was a perfectly good point because I'm almost certain that Peoria is very close to Phoenix, northwest, I think, of Phoenix. And absolutely in that area, if you look in the greater Phoenix area, you're going to find places that potentially perform better than 97th. And have great quality of life. Now, renovation and remodeling costs are at 6, and quality of life rank is at 6. So Peoria would be on my short list. Number 3, Fort Wayne, Indiana, 67.38 was the total score. It ranked 106th under market potential, 16th under renovation and remodeling costs, and quality of life ranking was 46. Number 2 on the list, Sioux Falls, South Dakota. This is another community that's been on several other lists relating to return on investment in general on rental units, not just flipping. And also, before we go any further on this list, we're in the top 2 here, but let's make another point. When you're looking at things like this, consider it as just another data point for you. If you're someone who is not married to one strategy, see if you can't figure out which one makes more sense for you. You may be in a scenario where you need that quicker turnaround, and that's perfectly fine. This is a great guide to get you started in different areas. But some of these cities sound or are definitely on previous lists we've talked about relating to great return on investment as rentals. So keep that in mind. You could even do a blended strategy where you do a buy, remodel, hold, rent, then flip, right? And so maybe just rent it for a year. Have a strategy ahead of time. All right, so number 2 is Sioux Falls, South Dakota, 122nd in the market potential. Number 7 in renovation and remodeling costs. Number 29 in quality of life rank. And finally, number 1 on our list. And it's interesting because this is the only city from this state to make the list. Actually, you know what? We don't have any state repeats in here at all. That's kind of interesting. El Paso, Texas is number 1 with a score of 69.6. Market potential was 95th. Renovation and remodeling costs 9th. Quality of life rank 48th. So we're going to go ahead and take a quick break here for a second. When we come back, we'll talk about the worst 10, and then we'll poke around a little bit. Let's find out what the number 1 market potential city was, because I think that's an interesting question to answer, right? So don't go away. We'll be right back.
Are you ready to jump in and start your search for your first investment property? Maybe you've decided that it's time to own your own home, or maybe you're ready to sell your home and move on to something new. No matter what your goal is, the Rebel Broker can help. That's right, aside from hosting this show, I am also the owner-broker of Whitelaw & Sons Real Estate Services right here in Silicon Valley. With over 25 years experience serving Silicon Valley, Morgan Hill, San Martin, and Gilroy, I or one of my great agents can help you achieve your goals in real estate. So if you're ready to look into taking that next step towards achieving your real estate goals, point your browser at www.soldbyrobert.com. That's www.soldbyrobert.com and get in touch. Let me show you how I will earn your business and your respect. Again, that's www.soldbyrobert.com, or you can call me at 408-852-0525. California Bureau of Real Estate ID 00984-909.
Welcome back, everyone. I love looking at the bottom of some of these lists. Now, this list is 150 communities long, right? And so many of these are so familiar. And interestingly enough, California is the most represented location. Now, think about that for a second. Whenever you're reading stories where they're talking about the sexiest markets, the most amazing markets, the markets that they talk about are these markets, the ones we're about to talk about, that have the crappiest return on investment. Well, okay, that are ranking the lowest on this muxed list. We'll go ahead and take a look at the list based on what were the top performers and worst performers. But some of these are right here down at the bottom. And what's interesting is, well, we'll talk about that in a second. So number 140 on the list is Jersey City, New Jersey, 39.33, 85th in market, 144th in renovation costs, and 55th in quality of life. I'm surprised it's not lower, given how much it costs. I mean, Jersey's got taxes out the wazoo. So anyway, it's in the top. It occupies one of the top 3 spots in terms of taxation. So New Jersey has never been really high on my list for that reason. Number 141, near and dear to my heart, Honolulu, Hawaii, on the island of Oahu, did a 37.95 score on this, 148th in terms of return, 136th in terms of remodeling costs, and 59th in terms of quality of life. As I've mentioned, my home, or my investment property is on the island of Oahu, opposite side of the island from Honolulu. I can totally see why flipping is a dicey proposition in Honolulu. I'm a little surprised at the quality of life ranking not being higher, because quality of life is pretty swell. At 142nd, Boston, Massachusetts. Remember, we've talked about Boston a ton. Boston has really fallen in terms of attractiveness. There was it was probably about a year and a half ago, Boston was cropping up on several lists in terms of attractiveness for investment. Things have gotten to the point now where that is no longer the case. It ranked 37.8th overall, 89th for investment for market situation, 148th for costs of building, 56th in terms of quality of life. Number 143 in my market, San Jose, California, 37.78 was its overall score, ranked 144th in terms of market appeal, 146th in terms of cost to remodel, and number 9 in terms of quality of life. Absolutely, San Jose deserves to be at the bottom of this list. This San Jose also figured in the worst of return on investment for single-family residential, if you were trying to get into the market now. And every once in a while I'll get someone go, hey, Robert, you're totally ignoring appreciation. No, I'm not. If you're doing a buy and hold strategy, you don't make money till you sell it, so you're no longer holding it. If you are buying strictly to ride the appreciation of the market, independent of what you're going to do to the property, I think you're doing a much more risky thing than is necessary. For my money, a property needs to perform from the moment I purchase it. In San Jose, it's very difficult to make that happen right now. San Jose, we already covered what it scored as, but number 144 on the list, New York, New York. Overall score 37.38. It ranked 78th in terms of market appeal, 145th in terms of cost to remodel, and 86th in terms of quality of life. 145th position was held by Oxnard, California, which scored 37.26 overall. 147th in terms of investment appeal, 134th in terms of renovation costs, 88th in terms of quality of life. I'm actually pretty familiar with Oxnard in the olden days. Oxnard was a great little community, and I used to spend an awful lot of time there when I was a kid. My grandfather lived there. I've stopped by there several times over the years, and they just built the hell out of that place. So I don't doubt that it's having some challenges. Next on our list, another city that has been touted as super sexy. Number 146, Los Angeles, California. Overall score 36.83. Market appeal 131st. Costs to remodel 140th. And quality of life 108th. That seems a little low even for Los Angeles. And you know what? It's also not true. It's true for the metro area of Los Angeles, I'm sure. But it's again, know your local market. There are areas in the Southern California and Los Angeles that are amazing. Usually they tend to be closer to the water and more pricey. And then the challenges get even bigger in terms of getting decent flipping going on. But it's going to be one of those things where you need to drill down to a little bit more market truth. All right, 147th is San Francisco, another local area, another one that everyone talks about being such an amazing market. 34.38 was its overall score. It ranked 142nd in terms of market appeal, 150th, dead last in terms of how much it costs to build. That is a huge thing. That is absolutely true. Does not surprise me one bit. There are so many ridiculous, and it's not just a labor thing. It's a regulations thing. It's the hoops you have to jump through. It's absolutely idiotic in San Francisco. But it ranked 10th in terms of quality of life. And boy, let me tell you, there are some neighborhoods in San Francisco where it ain't a 10. Let me just share that with you. So again, ground truth for you in the areas you're interested in. Number 148, Newark, New Jersey, 34.31 as the overall score, 57th in terms of how attractive the market is, 142nd in terms of remodeling costs, and 142nd in terms of quality of life. I have been to Newark, and all I remember is it smelled like a mix of fermenting beer and toxic waste. I have some stories about Newark, but we won't get into that. Number 149 on our list was Yonkers, New York. 34.21 was the overall score. 74 was where it ranked in terms of market appeal. 149th is where it ranked in terms of costs for remodeling. 98th is where it ranked for quality of life. Finally, dead last for flipping, Oakland, California scored 31.97, 141st in terms of market numbers, 143rd in terms of costs to remodel, and 103rd in terms of quality of life. And that seems about right to me. However, there are some markets that are a little bit more attractive in Oakland if you know Oakland well. I have a couple of folks I know who invest in Oakland, and they have done pretty well for flipping. But the barrier to entry is pretty high. You have to spend an awful lot of money in order to make that work. And if you happen to be between buying it, fix, and then selling it again when a market takes a hit, that would be a concern. I'm at that point where that kind of concern I think needs to be factored in. Now let's go ahead and take a look at highest average gross return on investment. Because I tell you what, this is where I would start. This is where I would start with this list. You might then try to sub-file them based on your personal preferences, but there are a few in here that shouldn't surprise you. Number one on the list in terms of, let's try to do a countdown. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right. Some interesting ones here at the top of the list. Buffalo, New York, 51.42 overall score, obviously ranked 10th on this list in terms of market potential. Its renovation and remodeling costs are at 96, but its quality of life is at 130. I'd stay away from New York. I don't know why. I just unless it just seems like another one of those places where regulations might really get into a interference mode. For instance, here in California, in my area, one place where it's ridiculously hard to build in addition to places like San Francisco, is Santa Cruz County, which does some just weird stuff, and you can get held up at the drop of a hat if someone claims they've seen a salamander of one kind or another on the lot you want to build on, or your neighbors can all petition to not let you make that addition to the home because it'll suddenly block their view of the house across the street. All right, so number 9, Cincinnati, Ohio. This was on our list that we talked about last week. This is another community where single-family residentials are performing super well. It scored 80 on the renovation and remodeling costs, and it scored 118 on the quality of life rank. Number 8 on our list, again, Tampa, Florida. We talked about Tampa, Florida. It actually figured pretty well. It made it into the top 10 overall. New Orleans, Louisiana, ranked 7th in terms of market potential, ranked 38th in terms of renovation costs. So you've already got great market potential numbers, plus you've got relatively low cost in terms of doing renovations. But quality of life is at 112. And I got to tell you, that may be true in some areas of New Orleans, but if you're there and you get yourself oriented to the marketplace there, I have to think that you're able to leverage that in a way where the appeal of where you're buying and flipping is going to be greater than anything looking like a 112 ranking on this list. Next on our list, number 36, St. Petersburg, Florida, another community that has appeared on other lists in terms of attractiveness, even for long-term rentals, so not just flipping. 59.26 was the overall number. It was 6th on this list, 79th for renovation and remodeling cost, and 79th for quality of life. And here we go. This is one we've talked about. This is the one I've always been pushing, or at least I've been pushing for a year and a half. Number 5 on our list, Chattanooga, Tennessee. 51.27 is the score. Obviously a 5 on the market potential. Renovation remodeling costs 116. Quality of life rank 120th. I'll tell you, I am very excited about potentially investing in a place like Chattanooga. I think that because they've done the fiber thing, we continue to see startup companies, high-tech startup companies moving to Chattanooga. Cost of living is so much less, and they still get really great access to the internet to provide those kinds of services. I think we should all be keeping an eye on Chattanooga. Number 4 on our list in terms of best market potential for flips, Baltimore, Maryland, with a score of 53.71. As I said, scored 4th in overall market potential. Renovation and remodeling costs came in at 92nd, and quality of life rank was 135th. A little bit of a surprise, number 3 on this list in terms of just market potential, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I know I've got some folks out there who love Philly. I do get messages from folks who are super excited about Philadelphia. 53.02 is the total score. 111th is the renovation and remodeling costs. 126 was the quality of life rank. Tennessee pops in again at number 2 on our list. Memphis, Tennessee, 58.93 overall score. 2nd ranking in terms of market potential. 40th in terms of remodeling cost. 146. I don't even think I would listen to their quality of life stuff. I would identify what makes different parts of Memphis attractive. What are the neighborhoods that offer stuff that I think is attractive to people? For what are the main reasons people are going to Memphis, right? I think you need to be there to figure that out. Who are the big employers, those types of things. Figure out properties that sort of satisfy the needs of the largest number of people who'd be drawn to Memphis. I think it'd be an amazing choice. And I'm kind of looking forward to visiting at some point. Number 1 on our list, another one that comes up all the time. This city frequently is in the top 2, 3, 4 of all these other lists, whether we're talking about single-family residential rentals, multifamily rentals, maybe not on the vacation list. I don't think it figured too high on the vacation list. But now we're seeing it's number 1 on potential market rank or market potential rank for flipping. Cleveland, Ohio, with an overall score of 51.87. Renovation and remodeling cost, it ranked 105th. And quality of life rank, it ranked 148th. So 2nd from the bottom in terms of quality of life. There's got to be someone from Cleveland who can give me some information on how much we should love Cleveland. But again, I would discount that list. I'd start with it sorted by market potential and go from there. If we go down to the worst market potential cities, we shouldn't be too surprised. Oh, wow. All the places that were hot that are now super amazing, right? Brownsville, Texas, Laredo, Texas, Honolulu, Hawaii, Oxnard, California, Austin, Texas is now not great for flipping. Austin was on fire 2 years ago. San Antonio, Texas, again, was on fire. And some of these cities may not be panning out for flipping, but for rentals, some of these are still doing exceptionally well. As I said, San Antonio, San Jose, Fremont, San Francisco, Oakland, all of those are rounding out the bottom of this list in terms of lowest performers on flipping. So what do you do with this data? What's the point? What's the action item to take from this? Well, if you are a person who wants to do a strategy of flipping, then this can be a great guide for you. I'll have a link to this article included in today's show notes. And if you're already in some of these markets or you have a investment property in one of these cities, go check this, see where you're ranking, and see if maybe you need to consider changing your investment strategy based on this. Right? Since we're talking about flipping, usually that's a short-term thing. You buy, you renovate, you flip. So it may not be as big of a deal. But if you're currently holding properties, you can let this be a guide for you in terms of, is this an area where flipping works out really well? Let's say you've got a rental property that is a top-ranking return on investment for flipping. Well, maybe it's time to get that renter out of there, do a renovation, and sell it. And change your strategy, change it up a little bit, and then take those proceeds and move it into another market that maybe ranks a little higher than the one that you were in before. So I hope this has been valuable for you, or at the very least got you thinking in different directions that maybe you hadn't considered before. I truly appreciate you taking your valuable time and spending it with me, and hopefully I've given you something equal or better in value in terms of stuff to think about. Thanks again for listening, everybody, and I'll talk to y'all next time.